It is 4 p.m. We're bringing developing news.
And the stories behind the headlines. This is Storycon. I'm Regina Lay.
I'm Ed Lingao. Some stores are watching this Thursday, March 27. The Senate Foreign Relations Committee releases its initial findings on former President Duterte's arrest, citing, quote, the glaring violations of his rights. Panel Chair Senator Imee claims that no warrant was issued against Duterte and that he was denied due process and legal counsel. Marcos also concludes that the country had no legal obligation to turn Duterte over to the ICC.
Senator Imee also claims that her brother, President Bongbong Marcos, was upset with her for continuing the Senate hearing on Duterte's arrest by the ICC. She maintained that she invited government officials and had no intention of making the hearing anti-administration. She also addressed Palace Press Officer Claire Castro's recent remarks about her, and the senator had this to say.
In the immortal words of my mother, Imelda Romualdez Marcos, to patol is human, to dedma is divine. Let's be divine. Dedma.
Former Presidential Legal Counsel Salvador Panelo believes that if former President Duterte dies while detained in The Hague, it may push VP Sara to run for president in 2028. He compares the scenario to the late President Noynoy Aquino's ascent following the death of President Cory Aquino. Panelo claims that history shows how the death of a popular leader often elevates a relative to power.
And authorities are still finalizing plans for the rehabilitation of EDSA, which is expected to start sometime in April. Officials warn of severe traffic congestion as the project involves removing concrete, fixing drainage, and laying asphalt. Metro Manila mayors will submit comments next week, while alternate routes and traffic measures are still under review.
And joining us today, as always, Storycon's resident political pundit, Tito Ral Llamas.
Magandang hapon.
Okay, wala ka nang sukat dito. Kumakain ng semada kanina eh.
Baka ma-misconstrue ka. And from the Philippine Star Editor-in-Chief, Imee Pamintuan. Hi, Imee.
Imee, subdued yung kanya.
Hi, happy
Subdued yung kanyang
Thursday.
kulay. Subdued.
Anong kulay yan?
Kaya nga, subdued nga eh.
Lilac.
Pink. Ano ba kayo?
Light pink.
Yan ang pink.
Oh, pero light.
Oo.
Light. Hindi siya humihiyaw.
Light pink. Hindi ano.
Hindi humihiyaw.
Yun ba yung
Hindi
t-shirt
yung
lilac?
pink.
Talaga,
Kaya
it's
mo
become
next week
part-
magmakukulay-kulay.
Talagang it's become part of the show to comment on Imee's outfit. No?
Kasi tayo pare-pare kulay natin.
Tsaka nagbabago siya, di ba? Hindi katulad natin. Boring.
Mga tamad kasi tayo magbalit ng ano eh.
Blazer on lang.
Okay, Imee, ano mo lang? Ay, sorry, Imee,
Yeah.
let's bring in, if we have already, Mayan Los Baños, kasi she's in a rush eh. Is Mayan Los Baños, the TV5 reporter in the Senate, already online?
Well, wala pa.
Sorry,
Wala
wala
pa.
pa.
But
Sige,
anyways,
sige.
obviously, we're talking
Wala
about
pa.
what happened in the Senate with Senator Imee Marcos, nagpa-press con. And she said, she presented her initial report, the Foreign Relations Committee's initial report on the arrest of Duterte. There were three key findings. Sabi niya, number one, the Philippines had no legal obligation to arrest Duterte and turn him to the ICC. Number two, she found that the Philippine government assisted the administration and they started preparations prior to March 11. And number three, she said there were glaring violations, quote-unquote, of the rights of Duterte.
Parang hindi naman surprising, di ba? Yan yung narrative eh.
Oo nga.
Diba? Yan yung narrative simula nung nahuli siya.
Yeah.
Ang latest lang, yung statement ni Panelo na dapat hindi siya bumalik.
Nung sabi
Statement ni Panelo kahapon na
he would have advised Duterte not to come
yes,
back.
dapat naghanda muna yung base niya, yung kanyang mga abogado. No? So, yung sinasabi ni Learned Ed Lingao last week, sinabi ni Panelo kahapon na, di ba may pustahan pa tayo nun? Na,
2 weeks ago pa yun eh.
Oo nga, di ba?
Actually, yung sinasabi ni Imee, yung diffusion notice, kasama yan sa mga commitment natin sa Interpol. That's an Interpol diffusion notice.
Yes.
But
Kasama yun.
Tsaka di ba,
Ah,
may
yun,
Supreme
yun,
Court.
yun yung secret na hindi nga ina-upload sa website nila para hindi maging public. That's to prevent the person covered by the arrest from running away, from fleeing.
Para hindi siya
Kaya pwede.
matimbrehan.
It's one of their instruments.
That's it.
Oo.
We're looking at it right now. But her point was that since it's not a red notice, and it was just a diffusion notice, that the government, she maintains that the government had no legal obligation.
Meron siyang diffusion notice which was followed by the arrest order.
Yes, correct.
Belated John. But you can arrest under a diffusion notice.
Tsaka maganda siguro doon sa Senate hearing ay inimbitahan yung mga legal luminaries na sinasabi na...
O kaya Interpol.
Yun, oo.
Para in-explain sana
Yes.
ng Interpol kung ano yung diffusion instrument nila.
Oo.
Okay, let's
Kasi hindi tayo pamilyar doon eh.
let's bring in our correspondent now. We have Mayan Los Baños for the latest at the Senate. Mayan, you covered yung press con ni Senator Imee. What did you think? Ano yung how was the rest of it?
Ay, magandang hapon sa inyo, no? Tama, kaninang mga bandang 10:30 ng umaga nagsagawa ng press conference Senator Imee Marcos. So, siguro unahin ko na dun sa mga sinabi niya na tingin niya, pakiramdam niya, minasama daw ni Pangulong Bongbong Marcos yung pagtuloy niya dun sa hearing tungkol dun sa ICC arrest kay dating Pangulong Duterte. At sinasabi niya, pakiramdam niya galit sa kanya ang kanyang kapatid na si Pangulong Bongbong Marcos. Pero ang sinasabi ni Senator Imee, hindi niya alam bakit. Sabi niya, kasi ang dami ko nang in-invite ng mga taga-gobyerno. Sabi niya, in-accommodate ko naman sila. Sabi niya, pero hindi ko nakasalanan kung hindi nagtugma-tugma yung kanilang mga sagot. Di umano ka at naging nagmukha raw anti-administration yung hearing na ginawa niya noong nakaraang linggo.
Mayan, nabanggit ni Imee yung...
Yes, sir.
To dedma is divine. Paliwanag mo nga kay Reg, kung hindi sabihin nun, nahirapan siyang unawain eh.
hindi kasi pinapag-react namin sa anong sabi namin, ang comment nyo, medyo may sinasabi na si Usec sa inyo na puro daw mga taga-DDS ang kinakausap nyo kasi lalo na dun sa hearing. So, ang sinabi niya, words daw yon ng kanyang nanay na sinating First Lady Imelda Marcos na parang to patol, ano yung sabi niya?
To patol is human, to dedma is divine.
Yes, it's divine. So gusto raw niyang divine siya, to dedma siya, kay Usec Castro. Yun yung sabi niya.
Mayan, kahapon pa namin tinatanong yan si Imee kung itutuloy pa niya, kung may part 2 pa yung hearing na yan. Meron ba? May sinabi ba siya kanina? Kasi sa kahapon sabi niya sa amin, hindi pa siya sigurado eh. At sabi niya sa amin kahapon actually, unenthusiastic daw mga tao, lahat ng tao doon sa probe niya. So itutuloy pa ba niya? May part 2 pa ba?
Yan din ang sagot niya sa atin, ma'am kanina nung calling Duterte sa tinatanong, sabi niya, pinag-iisipan pa nila. But so far, ang ginagawa nila is they're actively looking for additional resource persons, mga international law experts daw. Karami pa raw kasing dapat siya sa atin. At kasi itong preliminary findings po nila, kung makikita niyo, wala silang tinukoy na papanagutin. So parang yun yata yung gustong i-cover ng pangalawang hearing. I-pinpoint na. Sino ba talagang dapat managot doon sa sinasabi sa preliminary findings ng mga paglabag sa saligang batas di umano ng pag-aresto kay dating Pangulong Duterte?
Yung preliminary findings ba, is it a consensus among the members of the committee or is it the preliminary finding of the chairperson?
Kung tama kasi parang Senator Imee lang itong preliminary findings na ito. Tsaka kahapon lang din sinabi niya, kaya itutuloy yung press conference kasi supposedly kasi ito, Ed, kapihan sa Senado, kumbaga press con na the usual with the Senate reporters, and then kagabi nagbago, sabi niya, straight press con na ito kasi nag-represent ako na yun na initial finding. So,
Actually, it's an initial finding of the chairperson of the committee.
Yes.
Yeah. We were wondering, Mayan, kasi walang signatory yung initial findings, yung preliminary report. So we were wondering whether the committee members signed off or this was just written by Senator Imee Marcos's team.
Pero pag divine kasi, kahit walang iba, okay na yan. Divine nga.
But
Ang dating sa amin ay mukhang galing lamang ito kay chairman, bilang chairman ng Senate
Divine
Committee on
chairman.
Foreign Affairs. Kasi preliminary findings pa lang. Ang papipirmahan o ipaiikot kasi sa members
Okay.
kapag ganap na siyang committee report.
Okay.
Meron bang proposal dyan sa kanyang ginawa? Halimbawa, clearly naman in aid of legislation yung hearing na yan. Pero some
Clearly
other
ba
time
yan?
kasi may mga suggestions sila ng mga kaso, no, na ipa-file. Katulad sa Congress din. Meron ba ganun silang output dyan na sampahan ng kaso whoever? No, yung gobyerno, yung presidente, yung DOJ. May ganun ba silang proposal?
Dun sa 7 pages na binigay na copy sa atin, wala akong nakita na recommendation. Ang sinasabi sa atin paliwanag kanina, parang kami kasi, what's the urgency? Bakit naglabas ka agad ng preliminary findings? Di ba yung ibang mga hearings, inaabot ng ilang buwan, walang preliminary findings. Sabi niya, ito ay para tugunan kasi may mga nakaubang na warrant, di ba? Sa iba pang mga nabanggit sa ICC complaint. So sabi niya, minabuti na nila na ma-pinpoint ano yung tingin nilang mali at pagkukulang at butas doon sa pag-aresto kay dating Pangulong Duterte para sana daw hindi na maulit sa mga susunod na maiisyuhan ng warrant ng ICC. That is, kung makikinig sa kanila, yung pinatutungkulan nilang mga nagkulang yung sa pag-aresto kay dating Pangulong Duterte.
So yun ang objective niyan, Mehan, kasi nagtatanong din mga tao. Sabi ni Sal Panelo, in aid of election lang yung probe na yan eh. Meron bang malinaw na patutunguhan yan? Oversight lang ba to o talagang gusto niyang pigilan yung pag-aresto? Alam naman natin kung sino yung arresto, si Senator Bato and maybe si Oscar Albayalde. Yun ba yung objective niyang probe na yan? Para matigil na yung mga arrest?
So for yun ang hindi niya sinabi exactly lang no, para matigil yung arrest, but basically to address yung mga concerns dun sa pag-arrest at sana daw huwag maulit yung kung ano mga pagkakamali. By the way, ma'am, may sinabi siya na hindi naman ako nag-iimbestiga para ma-re-elect o kaya ma-endorse. Kasi natanong natin siya, no, kung ba yan, gagamitin mo bang campaign, campaign issue mo yan, yung ginagawa mong hearing. Tapos sabi niya, hindi naman ako nag-hearing para ma-endorse or ikampanya yung sarili ko. Yun ang sabi niya.
But wasn't her logo on the PowerPoint that they were showing during the Senate hearing? But anyways, I'm curious about what you said, May, about na minasama daw ni President Marcos yung pagka-conduct niya ng hearing. Tell us more about that. I mean, what's the level of I guess what's the word, rift between the siblings? Where are we at now?
Dagdag doon sa tanong ni Reg, Mayan, meron ba siyang bagong dagdag doon sa kanyang statement kahapon na siya ay kumakalas sa administration slate? Napag-usapan din ba yung yaan kanina?
Yes. All of which na pag-usapan. Una, yung kay Ma'am Reg, ang tinanong natin siya, kasi nung una para medyo malabo, sabi niya, hindi ko maintindihan ba't sila nagalit. So, tinanong ko siya, sinong nagalit? Sabi ko, si Pangulo ba? Sabi niya, yes. Tapos, tinanong namin siya, so dahil ba sa hearing, nagkalamat na yung relasyon niyo magkapatid? Ang sabi niya, ay hindi, matagal na kaming hindi nag-uusap eh. Sabi niya, pero more on ang sinasabi niya, ang rinig niya or ang nakarating sa kanya, nagalit daw ang Pangulo, hindi raw minasama daw ng Pangulo na tinuloy niya yung hearing, kasi nga parang napasama daw yung imahe ng gobyerno dahil hindi raw maganda yung mga sagot o hindi nagtugma-tugma yung sagot ng mga cabinet members doon sa hearing. Pero ang sinasabi ni Senator Imee, in-accommodate ko naman silang lahat. Ang dami nga nilang pinadalang subject. Sabi niya, nagpadagdag pa tayo ng upuan at room. Sabi niya, so sabi niya, hindi ko nahawak kung anong sagot nila. And then second question sa alyansa, sabi ni Senator Imee, huwag na nilang pahirapan yung isa't isa. Total, hindi naman na daw siya binabanggit ni Pangulong Marcos sa mga campaign rallies, at least in the past two, itong Cavite at Laguna. Sabi niya, di ko kakalas na lang ako, at least baka matanggalan pa sila ng tinik sa dibdib kapag kumalas ako. Yun ang sabi niya.
So, mini-maintain niya yung narrative na hindi niya binabanatan yung kanyang kapatid. Mini-maintain niya ron at parang kanya adding insult to injury dahil malinaw naman sa lahat na ito ay banat sa kanyang kapatid. Tapos, ini-explain away pa niya na hindi naman to banat. Kaya talagang parang double whammy para kay Presidente Bongbong. Kaya talagang magagalit talaga yon.
naninindigan siya na parang, ako, nag-hearing lang ako, in-invite ko lang kayo, in-accommodate ko kayo, pero hindi ko na problema kung yan yung sagot nyo. Sabi niya, kaya nga kanina, may mga sagot siya na patanong, na parang, hindi ko nga alam ba't nagalit. May ganun siya. But she was very clear in her statement na hindi raw talaga nagustuhan ng Pangulo, na tinuloy niya yung hearing kaugnay nga nitong sa ICC arrest ni dating Pangulong Duterte.
Family feud kasi yan eh. Family feud yan eh. Yun yung tinanong namin kahapon sa kanya. Hindi lang yan not just with her brother, pati dun sa ibang kamag-anak yan eh.
Yeah.
She had been eased out, sabi niya sa amin, since November 2021. At hindi lang siya directly nakikipag-away dun sa ibang kamag-anak.
Binanggit ba niya, Ami, yung First Lady nung nag-uusap kayo?
Binanggit ko si First Lady. Basta binanggit si First Lady, tumatawa lang siya.
So, to dedma is divine.
Binanggit mo rin siya kay First Lady. I think yun din ang sagot ni First Lady. I don't wanna go
Okay.
back to family.
Mukhang naputol na yung ano.
We'll let Mayan go. Mayan, we know you have an important appointment, so we'll let you go. Thank you so much for
yun
your...
na, nagtatawag na. Thank you, Mayana.
Thank you so much for your reporting.
Thank you.
News 5 correspondent Mayan Los Baños.
Actually, in a different note, tatanong ko sana kay Mayan. The other day, it was very rare na bumanat si Senate President Cheese kay Sara. Diba? Na sabi niya, ina-agitate yung military ni Sara. At pinaglalaban yung police at saka yung AFP. Very rare yun, dahil kakatapos lang niyang i-reject yung summons ng Congress para ipatawag si Sara.
So you think there's something behind it?
Very intriguing dahil minsan lang siyang bumanat directly. At short of saying na itong mga to, si mga Duterte, are agitating the military for something. No? Ganun yung logic nung kanyang sinasabi. Although, hindi niya kaagad binanggit na ito ba ay papunta sa coup, sa mutiny. Pero ganun yung narrative. At yung narrative na yan, more than a year ago pa na minamaintain ng mga Duterte. Na bakit kayo sumusunod sa isang commander-in-chief na ganito. Lalo na ngayon, na sinasabi na ba't kayo susunod na ginawa ito sa isang former president?
Yes. Well, remember, di ba she was questioning why they didn't protect Duterte when he was being arrested, which is not his job, which is not their job.
Doon nag-react si Senate President. Inulit ko, very rare.
So you're saying his epiphany came 1 year late?
Baka 1.5 years late.
Kasi as early as 2024, January, remember?
Yeah, 28.
A call for secession.
Oo. Mutiny, secession.
Pero at that time, they were still hindi pa fully broken up yung alliance eh.
Hindi mo muli
May cracks. But it's not like all out war.
Chasm na
Hindi
yun.
na chasm.
Chasm na yun. Di na.
But you know, I maintain that hindi naman completely useless yung hearing that Senator Imee conducted. Kasi may nalaman tayo, we learned a few things from it, right? So
Hindi siya completely useless. Useless lang.
baka to you. Pero may nalaman tayo, we were able to piece the events together, right?
Pag sinabi mo hindi completely useless, so ano siya? Useless
At
lang.
saka,
I found interesting yung sinasabi ni Remulla and company na all those years ng Duterte administration, lagpak yung gathering ng evidence, even yung filing ng police reports, forensics, and all that.
Maintain nila yung decision o opinion ng Supreme Court na
Yes.
unanimous
Yes.
noong 2021 na may jurisdiction ng ICC sa atin.
yes. But coming back to Senator Imee, like all jokes aside, it wasn't completely useless in the sense na us in the media, we're trying to piece together what happened behind the scenes. Ikaw, may alam ka. Kami, we're just going by sources. So we learned more from that hearing. Pero it's also interesting that now they're confirming essentially that the rift is matagal na yung rift. Kasi there was a time, I remember she was still denying it. Na-interview namin siya last year, she was downplaying the rift with her brother. And now...
The rift is with Martin.
Yeah, and now ano sabi
Saka
niya?
yung First Lady.
Oo. I mean, she was never, Senator Imee was never part of the inner circle. We know that. Pero at least in the early years of the Marcos presidency, we thought na kahit paano, nakakausap pa rin niya.
Actually, yun ang sama ng loob niya. Yun ang kanyang hugot
Yeah.
Na instrumental siya para mabuo yung unit team. Siya nagkumbinsi daw kay Sara na maging
Correct.
vice president.
Yeah.
Tapos, nung nanalo na, parang outside ako lang muna siya.
Oo, she wasn't
Diba?
part of the
Yun
the
ang
core
sama
group.
ng loob
Yun ang
niya.
sama ng loob.
Siya yata ang instrumental na nagpa-slide kay Sara to the vice presidency.
Wait,
Kaya nakatakbo ng presidente yung kapatid niya.
Actually, dahil din sa isang family feud yun, di ba, Ami? Dahil sa family
Oo,
feud,
dahil din yan sa
nag-file-
talagang
Yeah.
no?
Puro
Talagang
family feud.
Pag it is written, talagang wala kang
Nag-file kasi si Sara
Talagang
for mayor.
siniswerte
Yes.
si Ferdinand
Diba?
Marcos
Tapos,
Jr.
come November, nag-substitute siya for vice president. Sinasabi ni GMA tsaka ni Imee,
I was gonna say, si
sila yung
GMA din,
nag-negotiate nun.
instrumental. Oo.
Tapos wala sila nakuha.
Oo.
Si Martin na naging speaker, tapos walang kumakausap kay Imee. Kaya immediately after the election, yung rift ay very apparent na. At lumawak with a tambaluslos moment. At tinanggal yung
Malaki yung sa kanya Dahil siya yung nag-broker, malaki impact sa kanya, di ba? Nawalan siya ng kredibilidad Kasi di ba sinasabi nila, well, they are implying nakasama dun sa nila na usapan para mag-slide down, magiging speaker si GMA. Kaya simula nun, na talaga siya yung nawalan siya ng credibility on the other side. Kung ikaw yung broker, di ba? Hindi mo kapatid mo yan, bakit ganon?
Yeah.
Ang sinasabi na lang nila in public, wala tayong magagawa kung mas metiwala yung presidente at pinsan niya kaysa kay GMA.
Yeah.
Di ba yun ang sinasabi nila in public?
Medyo off tangent ng konti, pero asan yung si GMA? Kasi nung 2023, siya yung isa sa mga dahilan kung bakit nagkaganon yung
Well,
nung tinanggal siya because of the alleged coup sa House, dinipensahan siya ni Sara at nagkaroon ng tambalastos moment.
Well, kabahan ka kay GMA pag siya ay tahimik. Tapos tuwing lalabas si Martin at saka si Presidente.
May picture sila
andun siya
together.
sa tabi, di ba?
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
Survivor yan. Huwag mo i-underestimate
May
yan.
naalaman pa ako kahapon. Remember yung veto nung yung culinary capital, Pampanga. Ang
Pampanga.
sponsor pala nun sa House is GMA.
Yes.
So may ibig ka
Ang
sabihin, Ami?
sponsor niya sa Senate is Imee.
Oo.
Kaya may comment siya sa amin kahapon tungkol doon.
Ibig sabihin pati yung
Pati mo na yun,
pati yung
pati
bill na,
dito na
pati
yun.
yung panukalan sa culinary capital.
Pati yung maliliit na
may political repercussions.
Oo, pati yung dito, sabi niya,
Everything is political,
kababawan. Sabi
Ed.
sa amin, kababawan niya, nakababawan. Niisip daw
The
niya.
intensity of the
Kasalanan ko ba
political
yun?
fight is
Sabi niya.
Pero si Imee kasi, di ba Ami? Si Imee as late as 2023, sinabi na niya, dahil inaatake na nun si Sara doon sa kanyang confidential fund, inaatake na rin si Digong sa Crimes Against Humanity. Ang sabi niya, late 2023, kahit mag-isa na lang siya, hindi niya iiwan ang mga Duterte. So, very clear yan
Kasi naipit nga siya Naipit siya Siya yung broker
Yeah. Uy,
Siya yung nasira doon Sinasabihan yata siya, ano ba yun? Wala naman nangyari sa mga pinangako mo sa amin.
Speaking of photos,
Diba? Yun, medyo mahirap yun
There was a photo, yung family photo, di ba si First Lady always posts family photos on Sunday. Wala din si Senator Imee doon. But her sons were there. Sila
Hindi
Borgie.
daw siya nagpupunta sa mga family
weekly
gathering.
yun weekly gathering.
Correct.
Parang
Yeah. Si
pamilya.
Ayaw niya.
Borgie Manotoc was there. Congressman Matthew Manotoc was there. Kalimutan ko yung first name. But
Ang
yeah,
sabi niya sa amin,
yeah, that was interesting as
sabi
well.
niya sa amin, hindi siya nagpupunta kasi ayaw ko ng plastikan.
Oh, okay. So she addressed
Yan ang sabi
that.
sa amin.
Hindi talaga siya pumupunta sa family gatherings on Sunday.
To dedma is divine.
Ayaw ko ng plastikan.
Oh.
Talagang divinity talaga.
Meron ka ng divine, meron ka pang ambassador ni Jesus Christ.
Ang lalim na nito This family feud is running very, very deep.
Yes.
Hindi ko alam
Yeah.
if this is repairable.
Pero Reg, yung mga anak niya bumabanat ha.
Yeah, I know.
Bumabanat
I
kay
know.
Sara.
Oo.
Diba?
Yeah.
Kaya
Di ba
wala rin tiwala sa kanya. Sila Baste, sila Panelo, etc. Diba? Binabanatan siya since 2 years ago At latest, itong kay Panelo. Epal lang yan. Diba? In aid of election, etc. etc. So talagang wala. Tapos sabi ni Sara, okay ang hearing, pero wala pa rin silang desisyon na isama siya sa slate. So may mga political
hanggang ngayon
statement
wala.
That
Hanggang
was,
ngayon wala. Tinanong ko siya about Sara Sabi ko, nag-usap na ba kayo ni Sara since the
Arrest.
since the hearing? Di daw sila nag-uusap pero tinext daw siya. Nag-tinext daw siya, nag-thank you daw sa kanya. Pero wala nga endorsement.
Nag-thank you for what, Ami?
Sa hearing.
The hearing.
For the hearing. Okay.
Nag-text lang, hindi. Sabi ko, nag-usap na ba kayo? Hindi. Hindi pa. Have you talked to your brother since the hearing? No.
Mukhang they
Hindi
haven't...
na kami nag-uusap eh.
Oo, mukhang-
Hindi na kami nag-uusap.
Sabi nga ni
Sabi
Mayan,
niya.
right? Hindi na sila nag-usap since what? 2022? Or was it 2022?
Hindi naman, walang sinabing
Or-
date. Pero
or
sabi na matagal na kami
2023.
hindi nagkakausap. Although I'm sure nag-usap sila, remember dun sa yung launch ng alyansa, nandun siya eh.
Tinaas
Alam
yung
naman
kamay
hindi sila
niya.
nag-usap.
Tinaas yung kamay
Siya
niya
yung
ron.
katabing-katabi. Siya yung katabing-katabi, remember? I'm sure nag-usap sila. I mean, siguro in the sense na hindi kami nag-uusap about these things. Yun ang ibig niya sabihin.
Alala mo, Ami, nung launching sa Lawag, tindi ng banat ng kanyang kapatid, si Bongbong, di ba? Tindi, pinakamatindi
Yan na
niyang
nga, katabi
banat sa mga Duterte. Pero nakasmile lang si Imee.
Pero I think she's always
Kaya
smiling
siguro
naman eh.
kaya siguro ganun sila, Sarah. Alam mo naman yun, sensitive din yung mga yun eh. Kaya siguro ganun yung attitude sa kanya. Siguro iniisip yun, blood is thicker than water. Di ba?
Pero parang dito, hindi
Kaya
na.
ganun.
Oo nga eh. Parang
Ewan
dito.
ko,
That's why...
ewan ko kung batiin niya bukas ng happy birthday. Yung happy birthday bukas ni Digong, nandun si Hanilet and Veronica, hindi sila pinapasok ha.
That's why I'm saying parang this family feud is ano na to, generations na to. Parang it looks like it's too broken to try to repair. Ewan ko
Anong
lang.
balita ni Joby?
Because it's...
Ed, hindi daw pinapasok si Kitty sa si Hanilet dyan sa ano. Although I'm not surprised. Ako yung vice presidente ng Pilipinas na anak niya, ayaw papasukin eh. Hindi daw sila pinapasok ngayon.
Saka Reg, nung lumabas last year yung assassination threat, parang
Yun, at that point, alam na natin, it's completely, disintegrated yung alliance. Pero, the question now
Ayun,
is, ikaw
interview niyo ako.
you've been accusing her since last year of namamangka sa dalawang ilog.
Yes. At sinabi ko nga sa inyo sa The Big Story,
Oo.
open warfare.
Open
That was
warfare.
January 2024.
So now the question is, does she go fully on the other side, right?
Hindi rin siya ganun
Hindi rin,
ka-accepted sa
kaya
other
yun na
side.
nga eh. So where does that
So,
leave her, diba?
Dito na lang siya sa side ng Storycon.
Ay, teka, huwag ka mag-iimbita basta-basta.
Hindi.
Di ba may TV
Kasi
program
nag-umpisa
sa
siya
rito?
yung ano eh.
May TV program sa rito, di ba?
Nag-umpisa siyang ano eh.
Alam nyo,
Nag-umpisa siyang broker ng unit team.
yes. Alam
Di
nyo,
ba?
baka,
Tapos ngayon, nagkaaway-away na, nandun siya sa gitna.
yeah.
Anong gagawin ng broker? Siya yung nag-broker ng unit team, pero naiwanan siya doon sa gitna. Anong gagawin niya?
So lahat ng kanyon na nakatapat sa isa't isa, siya
Both
muna yung
sides.
tatamaan. Dahil sa gitna eh.
Alam mo, the truth is, we invited her, even today. Even,
We always invite her.
We always invite.
It's a
Pero may ayaw kasi siya eh.
Oo, bakit nga?
Sa set
Alam mo
niya.
kung sino ayaw niya.
Bahala na kayo.
Mag-leave muna. Mag-leave muna yung ayaw niya.
May ayaw kasi siya sa show na to. So, wala. We're unable to get her.
Parang may nais niya pahiwatig sa...
Pero hindi dahil may bias dito.
Wala.
Si Ronald lang yun.
Wala. Kaya nga sabi ko, dito na lang siya pumunta. Mas okay dito. May principal pa.
May principal, may referee. May taga-referee pa sa'yo, no?
Oo. Pero tatalunin si Abby nun sa mga attire.
Oh.
Di ba, Ami?
Yes.
Matindi mga attire ni
Ay,
Abby eh.
oo. Sa buhok pa lang, talo na ako.
Marami
Talo
siya.
ako sa buhok.
Marami siyang attire. Nakita mo nung Halloween? Di ba?
Anong Halloween?
Iba yung attire niya. Tapos yung Valentine. Iba rin yung attire niya. Cupido. Cupid. May pana pa.
Oh, is it?
Oo. Wala ka.
Sino? Hindi ko nakita yun.
Yung may pumapana siya nung Valentine.
Totoo to ah.
Oo. Balikan nyo.
Hindi ko yun
YouTube.
nakita
Oo. May pana pa siya. No? Tapos yung Halloween, nakakuha siya yung attire ni Wednesday sa Netflix.
Wednesday
Parang ganun.
Addams?
Wednesday.
Oo.
Sabi niya sa akin na nagpunta siya sa Candon, nag-campaign siya sa Candon eh. Kaya kinuyog daw siya ng matatanda doon, Ilocos Sur eh. That's their turf, ano? Kinuyog daw siya ng matatanda, inaaway daw siya. Bakit mo inaaway si Bongbong? Sabi daw sa kanya. Paulit-ulit daw, tanong sa kanya. Hirap na hirap daw siya mag-explain. Ang in-explain daw niya, alam niya, bilin sa akin ni Apple Lakay, kailangan daw, alaman inano daw niya na kailangan banggitin niya si Apo Lakay para lang tumahimik. Alam niyo, bilin sa akin ni Apo Lakay, I have to protect my brother.
Oo.
O yan.
Parang hindi niya ginagawa yun.
Yan.
Oo nga. Okay, we'll leave that there for now. You're watching Storycon on One News. We just need to take a very quick break. We'll be right back. Stay with us.
We've got developing news in the stories behind headlines. Welcome back to Storycon, the Story Conference. I'm Ed Lingao.
I'm Regina Lay, and still with us, Imee Pamintuan of the Philippine Star and Ronald Llamas, our resident political pundit. Okay, let's bring in our first guest. We've got Strat-Based Group President Dindo Manhit on the line. Hi, Dindo. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon,
Hi,
Dindo.
Dindo.
Hi, sir.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Dindo, go ahead.
Sir, let me ask you to put on your hat first as a political scientist. Yung SWS survey commission by Strat-Based doon sa senatorial and party list elections. Punta muna ako sa party list. Number 1 yung 4Ps at 10.44%. What do you think is the reason for that? Is it just the name 4Ps that makes people want to vote it into office?
A simple analysis really reflects that. And no, kasi the brand by itself reflects how positive that project was or is, if it continues to be. So it was. Personally, I believe, I don't know why it was allowed by Comelec to have that kind of brand.
Kasi sa pangalan lang, kumbaga, dinaan sa pangalan, parang gano'n.
Meron pa nga po SSS, GSIS, party eh.
Yes. So that's something that I hope our Comelec also can address.
Dindo, yung margin of error ba ng party list at saka margin of error doon sa Senate survey ay magkapareho? Dahil mas marami kasing
Yes,
variables yung party list eh, kumpara sa Senate. So, do
I
they have
think,
the same margin of error?
The whole survey, of course, this has other issues also. We're still waiting for the socioeconomic data. So, at least 2% margin of error. But as you said, Ronald, the party list, kasi it's unique that it's top of mind. Plain and simple awareness and top of mind. That's why I said positive awareness.
Sir, sunggaban ko na sir, yung number 2 at least dun sa sa March survey. Number 2 sa party list is Duterte Youth, ang taas 8.42. I know they won a seat na rin before. But I don't remember if they were also this high before but it is a remarkably high
Yes, but always remember that survey date is February 15 to the 20th. This was the height of social media noise. Always take note of the period. So it could have been influenced by the strong noise pro-Duterte during this time. Can they sustain
Dindo,
it? That would be the question.
Punta na ako doon sa mga senador, Dindo. Siyempre, yung notable ay yung medyo malaking pagbagsak ni Ate Imee, no? Doon sa outside at 12 and medyo mababa yung binagsak niya. Ano kaya yung reason for that?
Senator Imee, and I think even her decision yesterday, when I said that she is breaking the coalition for his brother, he said he would get a released editorial list. Because her threat has always name.
Sir, sorry, sir, medyo choppy, sir.
Break up.
Yes, sir. We'll call. Yes, sir.
As I was saying, is this better? Is that the problem with Senator Imee Marcos is that her support base is really the what her sudden positioning as center of Duterte really confuses the general public. It loses.
Tingin mo, Dindo, itong...
as we step from the alyansa, the brother.
Tingin mo, Dindo, itong susunod na survey nyo ay mas bababa pa si Imee considering na talagang gumuhit na siya laban sa administrasyon? Where before, yung survey period nyo, kasama pa siya sa administration. Ngayon, hindi na talaga siya kasama at hindi naman siya tinanggap sa Duterte slate. So, tingin mo ay yung ganitong klaseng kalagayan ni Imee will affect negatively yung kanyang chances sa next survey nyo?
I think it will be taken negatively. Number one, she loses the political machine that comes with a coalition of 5 parties, biggest parties in the country? Second, will she now stand side by side with Sara Duterte to get the votes of the Dutertes, which I don't think will happen. So it's a miscalculation really on our part.
Dindo, flesh out that thought for me. Why do you think it won't happen?
Will the Dutertes really position themselves with another Marcos, or will it even translate to the Dutertes followers and not the Duterte to accept that she's truly anti-Marcos? You're dealing with voters. You're not dealing with political leaders.
Dindo, isa pang remarkable, yung pagkakyat ni Senator Bongo, number
Yeah.
1 na siya.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Considering the sentiment
it's
against the
consistent.
Dutertes, bakit ganon?
So this is
You
the
always-
first to
you
add
always
on.
remember,
This is
you
the
always
first.
remember that,
This is the first survey since the arrest. We should point out March 15
Yes.
to March 20
close
is
to
when
the
it was
arrest.
conducted. Yes.
So the boost, President of the support for President Duterte's allies, Bongo, he benefited from it, and we see that in the numbers. And it worked well for him because previous surveys he was so different from the Dutertes, that he had his own persona, malasake, healthcare issues, and now you add this strong association with the Duterte. Again, these are what we call snapshots. Always remember that. And snapshots see what the public feel at this moment, these days of the 15th. Yeah.
I think
Pero bakit kay Senator Bato de la Rosa hindi nag-work? If there's going to be a sympathy vote for Duterte, hindi ba dapat kasama si Bato? Yan ang chief enforcer niya
Maybe on the part of Bato, this is the boost that she got already. Maybe he was on a decline already and even got a boost, even though he lost 2%, because it's within the margin of error. So it's possible that really he has not really defined himself against the issue of, unlike in terms of the Senator Bongo, was positioned himself differently. The part of Bato, he was positioning himself on even being proud of the EJK initiatives or the part of fighting crime. So maybe the
Yes.
public is even divided really on this issue.
right. Dindo, you have any insights on Camille Villar? Of course, we know at this point both her parents have spoken out in support of Duterte. And we're seeing, and again, in this latest survey, nasa cut-off na siya between 12th to 14th place. And according to our resident pundit Ronald here, yun yung mga delikado because the first, usually, what was your, ano sabi mo before?
Well, yung
Pag nasa
last-
10th, 11th, 12th place
Yung last 4 kasi, delikado yan.
Ayun.
Dahil maapektuhan niya ng machinery.
Yeah.
Especially during the midterm, di ba, Dindo? Plus minus siya,
Yes.
15% eh. Kaya yun yung tatama kay Bato, kay Imee. No? Yun ang mga
and now we're seeing Manny Pacquiao, Camille Villar at that
Yes.
level.
Ang interesting, Reg, ay lumalabas sa, hindi natin verified na the administration is talking to Kiko and Bam. Ano? Well, dininay ni Toby
Deny-
Franco.
Dinay-
Pati ni Kiko at saka ni Bam.
Everyone denied it.
Paano kung ganyan naman yung mga usap,
That
sikreto
point,
pa yan eh. Diba?
That
I-announce lang
point,
yan pag tapos
Ronald,
na.
no? If you are Senator Kiko, Senator Bam, it's time also to rethink their position vis-a-vis the Duterte arrest. They tend to be playing in the middle when they should be positioning themselves strongly there. They don't even need to be part of the coalition of Marcos, but really find a way to capture the votes that is supportive of that arrest.
When you say playing in the middle, you mean steering clear of the issue. You want to see them more
Yes.
vocal.
Hindi daw kasi people's issue.
I would not like to see them. I don't know if it can be people. Kahit sabihin mong 25%, 41%, 50%, that's still a percentage that can make you win a Senate.
So, ang sinasabi mo, Dindo, mas makakatulong kay Kiko at saka kay Bam kung gagawa sila ng clear position for or against the Duterte.
Yes.
Rather than makikinabang
Yes.
sila doon sa present non-position nila.
Yung,
Yes.
Saan sila
Because
mas makikinabang sa for or
if you're
against?
seeing, for me, they will never be seen as a pro-Duterte senatorial candidate. So why stay in the middle?
Oh. I mean, I guess the narrative that they're trying to push is we're above all of this, right? Ito yung
That's
away,
the problem.
ito yung away Duterte
nobody's
Marcos.
Hindi to away Duterte Marcos. This is away between governance. That's why may impeachment at yung issue ng pagpatay through EJK. So this is not Marcos Duterte. It's the Dutertes who wants to define it as Marcos and Duterte.
Yeah. Yan
So it's
tatanong ko din
advisable
do,
to
can
the
you
two.
afford to, yan ang tatanong ko, can you afford to keep your head above the fray? Is it a fray? Kung
Right
kandidato
now,
ka.
it's a fray driven from political noise, but this is where the science behind any campaign strategy comes in. Who is your constituency? Will those who are above the fray have enough constituency to push them to number 11, 12? No? Like, that's why if you've noticed another name, a former senator, Senator Hunasan, suddenly goes all out for Duterte, hoping that he gets a boost. Or he will not get a
Pero
boost.
bumaba
So,
siya eh.
again, the next survey will reflect that. No? But all those that is within the Duterte camp, if you will break down the survey, because I've seen the breakdown, they're getting votes from Mindanao, the different regions, beyond Region 11 or Southern Mindanao. That's why the boost of, and something that I'd like to point out also, where Bongo de la Rosa are doing well, Willie Revillame is doing well. Is he also a
Eh, mga
secret
entertainer
candidate
yan
of
eh.
the Dutertes? No? So, baka naman may push for the three. Baka they're the real candidate. So we'll see if Imee Marcos gets the boost in the next survey or Camille Villar.
Tingin mo ba, Dindo, yun din ang dilema ni Francis Tolentino? Ano, dati siyang head ng PDP laban eh. Tapos lumipat siya sa administration. So, sa administration, siya yung pinakamababa. Is it because hindi pa siya totally tanggap
Actually,
as administration? Tapos medyo galit sa kanya yung mga Duterte dahil tumalon siya? Nandun ba siya sa ganong klaseng kalagayan? Kung bakit siya yung pinakamababa sa administration
Posible
slate,
yan.
Dindo?
Oo, posible among the slate kasi may awareness naman siya. Or it's also reflective of his 6 years. Baka naman he has failed to define himself. What does he stand for in those 6 years? So minsan, for the incumbents, you have to realize also you're being judged for your 6 years.
Dindo, may tanong ako, bakit mataas yung rating ni Coronel Busita?
Si Coronel Busita is a
Yes.
YouTube legend.
Yes.
Oo, ako
Sa
yung
YouTube
kilala
siya.
yan. So, pinag-aralan ko, no? Sa YouTube,
Kasi
ang galing ng mga
5 yung anong
production
yan,
niya.
he's 21st.
Yeah, ang forma niya is para siyang pinakamatapang sa Kongreso. It's production, but when you watch his video, as if he's the only one asking those questions in Congress. Na alam naman natin, we don't even see him in Congress. So that's the
Talagang magaling
power
yung packaging,
of social media.
Then nagtataka ako,
Yeah.
tingnan mo yung
Ako, I
mga,
myself, because-
he's above 40 candidates.
Pero sir, kasi I think he's also captured the rider community.
Yes,
Di ba?
I was gonna say,
But Ed, where is the rider party list?
Yung kanyang party list na one rider, nagtatap sa party list dati yan eh.
Oo.
Nasa number 1,
Dati,
number 2, number 3.
hindi ngayon.
So meron
Oo.
siyang
Pero
machinery,
I'm just
meron siyang
saying na-
network.
Oo, pero nakakadag for the Senate yung kanyang posturing. Watch him in YouTube. You'll be surprised.
so he's a social media star.
Dalawa sila sa
Yeah,
Congress
for-
right now
for
eh.
his constituency as
Si
a top
Congressman Rog
brave
is the other one.
congressman. Yeah.
Na pro-administration.
Yes.
Pero si Marcoleta is practically the candidate of the Iglesia ni Cristo eh. Pero he's not
So
doing
it's
well.
nice to, of course, these are surveys, right? So, hindi na reflect ang political base ni Marcoleta. But if he doesn't make it even in the top 16, it follows by argument really that it does not matter yung Iglesia unless it's a close fight.
It doesn't matter?
Oh, yes, because it only matters if you're number 11 or 12. You
Nasa-
can't even win one candidate for yourself. So I've always argued that it's a
20?
bonus to
22.
candidates. but it cannot deliver you for victory.
It's not going to be a last-minute surge of block votes for him. I mean, I guess we were talking about this earlier
it's good
sa
to wait.
election meeting.
Yes,
Actually,
it's good to
Dindo,
wait for
nagulat
Marcos
ako
to-
Magkapareha sila ng billboard, magkasama sila ni Kibuloy. Makakadagdag ba kay Marcoleta yun o makakabawas?
Iba ang basa ko dyan, Ronald, sa mga networks that you also talk to, siyang pinupush lang sa candidate ni Duterte by the Iglesia among LGUs.
Okay.
Okay.
We leave that there for now. Thank you so much for joining Storycon and your insights. As always, Dindo Manhit, President of the Strat-Based Group.
Salamat, Dindo.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Dindo.
maraming salamat.
Yeah.
Interesting tong latest.
Sila, no? Halos twice a month yung kanilang survey.
Yeah, I mean closer to the elections, of course, more
2
frequent.
weeks ago, guest din natin siya. Diba? Sa ibang survey.
Ay, nakalimutan ko tuloy tanungin about the preparations for U.S. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth, which I know they're also involved in.
Nagsalita na siya
Oh, ano sabi?
Nagsalita na siya. I think, not yet here, but nagsabi na siya na the US will stand with its allies to defend against Chinese aggression. Specific yun,
Nabasa ko sa group thread namin. Kasama ko sa chat thread.
Ako rin
Nagsalita na siya.
Kasama rin ako sa
Kasama ka din.
Signal. Ikaw ba?
May Signal ka
kasama ka? Sa Signal group chat namin.
Usus!
Ni Secretary.
Usus!
Tama ko nun eh.
Excuse me. Do you boys even have signal?
I used to.
Usus! Usus, patingin nga.
Meron,
I deleted.
no?
I used to. I used to.
Used to, tapos dinilig mo.
Yeah.
Yan o, Signal yan.
Same with Telegram.
Signal with an S, not C.
Yan ang problema pag...
Hindi, there was a time kasi na
Problema pag-
pagin kami lahat so we'd check out all these apps
Problema ni Reg,
na
insecure
more...
siya dahil hindi siya kasama doon sa grupo na yun.
Magulungan na lang tayo.
Ngayon lang sila umamin, Ngayon lang sila umamin yung signal na yan.
Actually, si...
Galit na galit sila doon sa
Oo,
journalist,
exactly.
no? Parang kasalanan mo,
Oo nga, di ba?
nanalig sa
Journalist.
sa'yo.
Si Secretary Hegseth called it deceitful.
Even some journals are mad at Goldberg kasi parang, why did you leave the chat thread kagad? You should have stayed somewhere.
Why did you, yan ang tama doon, why did you leave?
That's state secrets na. I mean, I'd be very uncomfortable if nasama ka din bigla na parang, oh, wait a minute. These are real war plans.
Yeah.
Right?
Para sa journalist, scoop yun.
It's different if you...
Ni-scoop na nila.
It's different if you divulge
Bakit
it.
ka alis?
But for you to be there because you were added by
Accidentally
mistake.
Kung si
That's not
Ami,
your fault.
kung si kay Ami nalikyan, di
Ay,
aalis siya
hindi,
si Ami.
tatago ko yun.
Di siya aalis doon. No? Gagatasan niya ng gusto yun. No?
Kung si Ronald nasama doon, magkano pa yan? Ito ang kailangan niyong gawin eh.
Hindi naman ako journalist, kaya magkasuggest na lang ako, di ba?
Buti nga sila may group chat. Di ba yun yung parating sinasabi sa
Uy,
officials natin?
Hindi kayo nag-uusap.
Nag-group chat tayo, di ba?
Hindi, yung sa cabinet members,
Oo,
parating na
mag-usap
mapagalitan
naman
na mag-usap naman kayo. Buti nga sila may group chat.
Pinagagalitan yung journalist.
Oo. Kaya nga.
Gaslighting.
Kaya nga.
Pero imagine mo kasi that's the most powerful nation in the world.
Exactly.
Diba? With the most powerful security.
With the most powerful
Diba?
military
Tapos ganun lang,
armament.
nalik lang.
Yeah, exactly. Parang nahalik
Naglik sa
lang.
journalist pa. Sa journalist.
They published the whole thing,
Oo.
yung screenshots ng ano. Okay, we'll leave that there for now. Thank you so much for joining Storycon today. Ami Pamintuan, Editor-in-Chief of the Philippine Star, Ronald Llamas, our resident political pundit. Join us again tomorrow, 4 p.m. for Storycon. I'm Regina Lay.
I'm Ed Lingao. We are one news, all sides, all the time.
This is the Story Conference Group or the Storycon Group.